Not as cold today, but man, we got a hot show for you today. Always an honor and a privilege to have Mr. College Football Tony Barnhart.
Are you not going to reference? Look at my cup, dude.
What, NCAA Final Four? Yeah, I love that.
1986.
That's a big year. That was the year that the next week is when, Jack Nicklaus walked up the fairway in 1986, and yes, sir, became famous. Hey, take a picture with your phone.
1986. What do you mean walked up the fairway in 1986?
Yeah, that was when he won the Masters.
Yeah,
Jack Nicklaus.
Which time?
Yeah, the one that everybody, his last one.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah,
I think we were there. We'll ask Buddy about it one day.
That was huge. Hey, take a picture with your phone of the QR code. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, 8 channels simultaneously. We share reels. Our intern Oakley is out with finals today, but he's going to start helping us with Instagram. He is on board. Project Instagram, PI. Look, Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, batting in the leadoff position, followed up by Dudley Dawson inside Arkansas, and Vince Ferrara up on the hill, 99.1, the sports animal in Knoxville. Always love talking college football with Tony, and can't get any better. I dropped my Roman.
What happened?
My Roman Harper football. Stand by.
What do you Roman Harper football? Is this like your good luck charm? Is this like not stepping on the foul line when you're running out?
I bought it at the auction at the Touchdown Club, and they auctioned it off. Oh. The money goes to LeBonner Children's Hospital, and Roman was awesome, and Tony. Both of them are kind enough to share their time with us. But Let's get started, man, with Tony Barnhart. Tony, 50 years and counting. What a treasure, man. And your grasp of what's going on in college football. We were talking just a minute ago about the private equity deal. They're talking $500 million at the University of Utah. And as you said, what could possibly go wrong with that? But the game, the popularity, the TV ratings, Pete Cordelli and Ellis Johnson sent me something the other day about SEC TV ratings versus Big Ten. Mm-hmm. I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I spoke in Orlando Monday night, and that's coming off the heels of who was it that said that college football is broken? It might have been Scott Frost who said college football is broken. I said, yeah, come on. College football is not broken. We're just having to make adjustments because the adults in the room can tend to mess it up.
Yeah.
So it's before the season started, I said, this is going to be the craziest college football season ever. And he said, Barnhart, what are you talking about? I said, just watch it unfold. And that's exactly what's happened. Do we have some things we got to clean up? Yeah. Do we need to get the Notre Dame people calmed down and get them back in the fold? Yeah, got to work through that. But college football is not broken. Yeah. College football is more popular than it's ever been.
Yeah. What do you think, Mr. College Football? I think you should probably be on the director of some sort of board that makes these decisions. But
really, I'm serious.
Can you? I think that you got to make the playoffs worth something. Excuse me, the playoffs. The bowl games are something worth something, or have the fine be so bad that you can't miss it, because it's such a bummer. It's like missing the extra point after a really cool college football season that no one wants to play it out. And I just want to say, we grew up, by the way, as athletes playing for third and fourth all the time. We stay at soccer tournaments an extra day because we got to play through the loser bracket. We didn't make it, but we still got to play for 3 and 4. It still matters. You have to play. How do we fix that?
Well, first of all, if with the player, let's start with the players. The players have NIL deals. Part of those NIL deals will be you will participate in all games played by your team for the entire season. If you don't want to sign that contract, that's fine. But that, to me, that's where it's got to start. And schools are doing one of the schools one of the conferences they are fining their teams like $500,000, something like that.
Big 12, yeah.
Big 12, that's it. And so I think that's where everybody has an obligation. If you're going to be a part of this enterprise we call college football, if you're going to play, if you don't want to be a part of that, God bless you, go do something else. But if you're going to play, you don't say, well, I'm only going to play when I want to. Well, no, that's not the way it works. and you have to change the agreement between the players and the coaches and the schools and college football.
Yeah,
it's the fans losing, right, Rob?
Yeah, the fans are losing. I mean, it's like duck hunting. It's a 60-day season. Football is a 60-minute game. You want to kill ducks? Get your ass out of bed at 4:15, 4:30. Don't play cards all night if you can avoid it, and go kill. That increases your chances. The Notre Dame, it was fun with Ellis Johnson and Pete Cordelli Monday. Of course, Pete coached there with Lou Holtz, very passionate about Notre Dame, speaks in reverent terms, and I love Pete. I've got a lot of Notre Dame friends. You do too.
Well,
you can't defend what they did. I've got grandchildren now. No pout face, no dreary wearies. Step up, man up. Look what Kirby did in 23. Hey, 12-0, back-to-back national champions. Loses to Bama. Manned up. He's the best coach in college football. I don't know him. I would love to meet him. But I'm going to tell you, look at Florida State. They acted like 2-year-olds, and they've never gotten that culture back. I didn't mean to ramble.
Well, and let us think about it. Notre Dame. I understand they were hurt, and I would have been the same way. I'd have been very disappointed, and on and on and on. But do we remember the fact that during COVID, the ACC stepped in and bailed Notre Dame out? They had nowhere to go. They had no way to put together a season. The ACC let them be a member and play 10 ACC games. So quickly we forget what they have done for you. And the fact of the matter is I have as much respect for Notre Dame as anybody. But the fact of the matter is does the ACC need Notre Dame? Yes, but Notre Dame needs the ACC. All of their other sports other than football, that's their home. And the ACC has been very good to Notre Dame. So everybody needs to put on their big boy pants and let's get over it and figure out how to actually fix some of these issues that we need to address.
Yeah. I want to ask you something. I was talking to Ellis Johnson after the show, and this is nothing confidential. I said, what happened to the ACC? And he's got a good grasp. He said, for too long, they held on to the 800 SAT score. And he said the folks in Chapel Hill kept making basketball number one and trying to say it's bigger than anything. And because of that, they fell behind. And now here's where they are. I tend to agree with him, but you started covering in Wilmington, North Carolina?
Greensboro, yeah.
Greensboro. Okay. The Triad.
I've seen a lot of ACC football and basketball. Great place in my heart for the ACC. And Ellis is right in one sense, is that Wes Durham, one of my dear friends, and I always had a saying when we did our radio show together. We look at a school or look at a team, go, that team, that school has got to decide whether or not they want to be in the football business. And if you don't want to be in the football business, that's fine. But you got to, if you're going to, you can't halfway do it. So, but I think all that gets, Clemson's always going to have a place. Florida State's going to have a place. And I think he's right, by the way, the Florida State culture. Florida State did not handle it well. And speaking about people that handled it well, what about Clark Lee? Okay.
Oh.
What about Clark Lee? They went to him. If anybody had a chance to be mad and disappointed and devastated, it was Clark Lee and the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He said, you know what? We didn't do enough. We didn't do enough to earn our position on the field. And I think he's got a lot of respect because of that.
At the Touchdown Club a couple of weeks ago in Memphis, when Clark Lee came here, I mean, it was like a run on the bank in the Depression. It was so many people. And Harold and I were like, God, it should always be like this. But these Vandy people were incredible. But I was surprised, I didn't know that Clark's father grew up in Memphis, went to Snowden Elementary, UT Medical with my friend Dr. Alan Ruhlman. They were, in medical school together. How many people he knows in Memphis. But just in talking to him, what a class act. MBA, what their motto is, the gentlemen scholars. And he's proud to be, and his father's medical practice is a block over from the football building. I don't think he's leaving Nashville.
I think he will get many opportunities to leave, but he's, it's a quality of life situation there.
Yeah.
And he has proven, when he said, well, we're going to compete for national championships at Vanderbilt, that sound you heard was people laughing all the way to the bank. And all of a sudden he's done it 2 years in a row. He has the roadmap to doing it at Vanderbilt. They've finally put money into the facilities. And so, he's done a tremendous job. Some schools handle disappointment better than others. And again, I got a lot of Notre Dame friends, and they were hurt, but you move on. You move on.
Yeah, and Wayne Dowdle in the Touchdown Club's son Clint is his agent, and great agent. And I think he's John Summerall's agent too. And I want to ask you about, and then Ryan Silverfield going to Arkansas. 3 American Conference coaches go, and look how John Summerall is handling the situation. And I listened to the voice of Tulane, Corey Glore, the radio play-by-play guy, which is what I think is the most important front porch to your school. He said he still loves Tulane, and people in New Orleans love him because of the way he's leaving. And talk about him, and I think Florida made the home run higher in all of college football this year.
Right. When I was in Orlando Monday night, I got asked about that. I said I thought he gave the University of Florida a 4-hour commercial in that conference championship game, and came across very well. And I talked to a lot of Florida people, and they were happy. They said we learned more from Summerall and his 2-hour press conference than we did in 3 years with the other guy. So they were Florida fans were very impressed.
Yeah. And like, I like the way you said that. I mean, nobody has anything personally against Billy Napier. It's just the 4 years he was at Florida, you look at the resources they have, they should have done better. And I also thought it was pretty cool. The final question in his press conference was Buddy Martin, Madras, short sleeve, Madras plaid shirt. I mean, just classic Buddy, about how he handled his football career coming to an end due to injury. I thought that was really powerful.
Well, it is powerful stuff, and I think all those coaches that got hired are going to be happy with they're going to be happy with the results. Summerall's very, very impressive. The fit at Memphis, that's a fit.
Yeah.
And this at Auburn, that's a fit.
Yeah.
So I think, although the only thing is, we're going to need name tags at SEC Media Days in July. So.
Yeah, a depth chart. It's going to be. I mean, that's a positive, because although this is the 50th year, you're going to be at Media Days. That means college football is in good hands. All right, next question I want to ask you about is Texas A&M. You know R.C. Slocum, and when I'm talking to you or Buddy Martin, it's the history of college football live. And I look at their record, and people say, well, A&M, 7 of their 7-1 in the conference were against the bottom 8 teams in the league. That doesn't mean A&M's not good. What do you think happens with them and Miami?
Well, that's going to be fun, because Miami has gotten better and better and better, and that's good. That's good. It's good for Miami to be this. I like the way that Miami is playing right now. Now, Texas A&M is going to have to step it up a notch, but I like the way Miami's playing right now. But again, what we've always learned, guys, is the gap between the SEC and everybody else. We look at it and the gap between Texas A&M and Miami may be better than we think it is, because we haven't seen them play each other. Yeah. So I like Miami in that game right now, but we'll see.
Yeah, and it's amazing too. Look over at the ACC, Duke. The last time I remember in 1979, Georgia was like 6-3, and they almost were going to go to the SEC, to the Sugar Bowl. In 1979, They would have been 6-5. Auburn ended up winning the game. Duke did it this year. They won the ACC with 5 losses.
Yeah.
And they didn't get into the deal. So that opened up the door for James Madison. All I can say is, if I'm a coach, I want the James Madison job, because Kurt Cignetti and the guy they got now, he's gone, and Billy Napier's going there. You ever been to Harrisonburg, Virginia?
I have not been to Harrisonburg, Virginia, but I'm familiar with James Madison.
Yeah.
A friend of mine by the name of Mickey Matthews used to be the coach there.
Yeah.
He worked for Jim Donnan, and there's another subject right there. What are we going to do with the group of 5? Okay.
Yeah.
It never occurred to them, at least I don't think it did. It never occurred to them. We're trying to be magnanimous, get the group of 5 a spot in the playoffs, but there was a little, a little codicil in the Faber College handbook that just said that you could get 2 in if this set of things happens. And we went, well, first of all, 7-5 team is never going to win the ACC championship. I mean, come on. And so it happened, but that is a hard conversation that we're going to have is what to do with give the group of 5 there. But when you talk to coaches and they look, how do you think Clark Lee is feeling when he's not in, but James Madison is?
Yeah.
With no disrespect to James Madison, but we're talking about a different level of football. And the coaches don't understand why are you putting 2 of those teams in? So again, in the offseason, that's a hard conversation we're going to have. We're going to have a hard conversation about conference championship games that I don't want to have, but we're going to have to do it. And where the season, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed or adjusted. Remember they did the whole situation about what was going to happen with seeding. That was something that needed to be fixed, and they fixed it in the offseason. So I'm anxious to see what happens with some of these issues there.
Yeah. Well, you go back to Jackie Sherrill. He said it on this show many times, and I've heard him say it over the years. Have the top right now. He said about 6 months ago on the show, he said, take the top 65 teams, including Notre Dame, let them have their playoff, and the other 69 teams, he goes, I can assure you, I've coached a long time at different levels. It'll be just as important to them as it is to the top 65. I agree with that. I like what James Ludeman said. That would give us actually Jeff Boone. That would allow the truly 12 best teams in the Power 4 playoffs. I got to tell you, Jeff grew up in Atlanta. His brother owned a bar in Athens. Guess who he pulls for, Tony? You can't imagine. He is the biggest dog fan every morning at the hunting club, in the duck blind or wherever. He will say, it's great to be a Georgia Bulldog. And then he was in charge of preparing one of the pits this year. On each end, it's got a Georgia Bulldog, and it's now called the Dog Box. But I think he's right. The 12 best teams.
That's I've long advocated for the FCS, that group of schools have their own national championship, their own setup. They could generate revenue with it. So, but those are discussions that we're going to have. Oh, by the way, guys, speaking of Georgia, Kirby Smart has done the best coaching job of his career with this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree.
What I saw the other night against Alabama was the best game Georgia has played in a long, long time. And so I was very impressed.
Yeah. Well, Tony, I was going to say, last year I said that was the best job he did when they were 15th out of 16 in the conference in rushing. And when I did my picks back in August, I said Georgia plays Bama in Atlanta. Georgia wins, but loses in the regular season to Bama. That was the most dominating performance. Georgia's playing their absolute best football right now. Mm-hmm. And you think about Nate Frazier. You think about Lawson Lucky and his story about his brother that I saw. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know these stories. You write about them. What is it that Kirby does other than, from what I can see, he connects to every single kid on that team. He lets them know they matter. His coaches know that he's got their back, and he's relentless in playing the full 60. Why is that so hard for other people to figure out? I think he loves the game. He's like a high school player, the way he coaches. And I didn't know his father. You probably did know Sonny Smart, who passed away last year.
Right.
But, man, he's got some great parents behind him.
Well, somebody asked me, I asked a coach one time, what is the toughest thing that a head coach has to do? And he didn't hesitate. He said, Tony, the toughest thing a head coach has to do is to convince his players to believe in something bigger than themselves. Wow. And if you can do that, that's one of your main jobs. They have to understand, for us to get to where we want to go collectively as a group, as a team, everybody's got to buy in and everybody's got to believe in what we're doing. Yeah. And sometimes it's not easy, and particularly in the age of the NIL, believing in something bigger than yourself is not a real popular thing to do.
Yeah, and I like this. Why is it always and Notre Dame? But because they're so big, the brand is so big.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is look, we want to talk about the brand. Look, I grew up in Colorado. We grew up hating the Domers, right? So that's just part of being a CU Buff fan when you had no other college football default with the McCartney years. But yeah, I got respect for all things college football, all things football in the sport. I think it was, it just was a sad thing when Rudy quits,
Yeah.
That's how it is for like a lot of people, because
Yeah.
that's what it is. Like Rudy quit on us, and so like that whole movie sucks now, because it's like, it's like, and then it comes out like they double down where reports said that Rudy was okay with it. So I was like, oh, there it is.
Really?
Kind of kills that for me a little bit. But all seriousness, it's it seems like if everyone's not a part of the solution, you're just part of the problem.
Yeah.
Well,
Tony.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Rob.
You go ahead. I was just going to say, I want your thoughts on that. That's a great point he just made. Rudy quit.
Yep. Well, I think Notre Dame's going to be fine. There are things that the ACC can now, unless they want to uproot and break a bunch of contracts and go to the Big Ten. I guess they could always do that, but they're just things that they need to run a comprehensive athletic program that the ACC gives them. Yeah. And so, but what Notre Dame gives the ACC, and not a lot of people remember this, is that every year the ACC has 5 Notre Dame games. 5. Sometimes there are 3 at home, sometimes there are 2 at home. But when you've got Notre Dame on your home schedule, guess how many season tickets you sell? A lot. All of them. So it's a mutually benefit. But the thing about it is, Pete Bavacqua, I've met him. He's seems to be an okay guy. But this irreparable damage, and come on. It's like Notre Dame's not supposed to feel disappointment. It's major disappointment. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. I get it. But guess what? You suck it up and you go. And
well, I mean, look, I just don't understand, because you got a $50 million contract annually with NBC and Peacock streaming services through 2029, and you're Domers. Like, I don't understand how you cannot play. I don't get how that works, because that's a thing, right? Like, you got to play. Like, you're contracted to play. So how does that work?
Yeah.
They just walk out on that contract?
Well, I don't know if Notre Dame has to play the game or not. I know that the conference does. The conference has a contract with the Bowls, and so,
but they're not in the conference.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying for playing lawyer. I mean, like, factually, like, we have, like, how does that work? Do they just get a walk on that whole deal? I mean, I'm from the TV contracts world. Like, they're going to have to outfit somebody, so they're just going to go put a bunch of guys in uniforms. Like, I don't know.
It's a tough situation. And again, this is one of many issues. The great Mike Tranghese, former Big East commissioner, who I know very well, very close friend, he said, always remember the law of unintended consequences.
Exactly.
Because there's stuff that you could not have possibly foreseen that happens, and guess what? You got to adjust to it.
All right, Tony, speaking of things you could have not possibly foreseen, Vanderbilt fans being disappointed they didn't make the college football playoff. I mean, that's up there.
Right.
Indiana, number 1 in football. Again, 10 years ago, we're at O'Malley's, you and I and Brenden, having a road soda out there on the deck, watching the river and the falls in Athens, going, in 2025, Indiana's going to be the number 1 football team in the country. Vanderbilt's going to be disappointed that they didn't make the playoff. And Diego Pavia, this kid that comes from New Mexico State, junior college.
And Lane Kiffin will be the hottest coach in the history of college football all time. And all of a sudden we'll anoint him as God of all and the best coach ever. And we're going to pay him the most money, and we're all going to chase him like he's the hottest girl.
And
ever.
are you going to New York with, can Diego pull it off?
I think it's going to be tough because Mendoza's had such a great year. And it's just one of those situations. But isn't it great that he's there? There's never been a Vanderbilt player at the Heisman Award. Okay, so I think it's great. I think he'll fare well, because if you saw the guy play, it's like, man, this is fun. It is fun watching that guy play. So I would say Mendoza is probably going to win, but isn't it great for Vanderbilt and great for the SEC that he's in New York?
Yeah, it really is. And the cool thing about him is how much he loves playing the game. I'm sure he's getting NIL money, but it's all about being a great teammate to him. If you had a chance to sit down and talk to him, because that would be the story, the lead story for the nation if you did that.
Well, what I decided to do as the season sort of progressed, I said, I'm going to wait until this season is over, and then I'm going to sit down with Diego, and so that we have the whole year to reflect upon. Yeah. And of course, that will be in the book.
Yeah, Tony. Look, I know you got a big day. Dudley Dawson, Inside Arkansas, is one of our great guests every week. A huge part of this show. Dudley, I don't know if you've met Tony before, but Mr. College Football, I absolutely love what you just said. When you write this book. And please, we will promote it every way possible on this show and every link that we have, because it's the link to the past, the present, and the future that makes college football so special. And it's Ivan Mazel's great quote. I got to always give it credit. The love of the laundry is what has carried college football this far.
Absolutely. I had a long conversation with Pat Dye Jr. earlier this week. Man, oh man, was that fun.
I love that guy.
There's a story that I heard about it. I seen it. I chased it down. I asked Pat Dye about it. I'll simply tease you with this. And Pat Dye Jr. confirms this.
Yeah.
The last voice that Pat Dye heard on this earth was Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and what
do you know what was said? What was the words? Are you going to hold that is that a teaser?
No, all he did was tell him how much he loved him.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is Bo. Coach Dye could not talk.
No.
He could not talk. And so Bo got the word that if you want to talk to Coach, you need to call him right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And Pat Jr. came up after that and hunted with us. And that was a great weekend. And I hope he'll come up this year and brought us a case of wine. And he's just a cool guy. Tony, one of the greatest thing is he pulls up to work in the morning there in Buckhead, right down the street from a lot of my friends. And sometimes he goes, I get out of my car, Rob, and Francis Tarkington's in the car next to me.
He told me that.
Better than that.
He said, you'll never believe who parks next to me every day.
You cannot get better. Tony, let people know how they can follow you, keep up with all your great work, and we'll get you on again before in the next couple of weeks if you can. But cannot ever thank you enough for sharing your time with us, but also the hard work. As your mom said, 50 is a great number, but let's keep going, please. Because
well, it's been a whole lot of fun this year. I haven't written a whole lot, but that was by design. And this year has been about gathering material and going to college. You talk about R.C. Slocum.
Yeah.
I was in R.C. Slocum's house. He invited me to his home. His wife, Nell, has put together this wonderful room over 60 years in coaching. And he said, R.C., this is unbelievable. He said, I call it the I Love Me room.
Well, Mac Brown was on with us back in late September. I promise you, they're good friends, as you know.
Yes.
He called it his me room. His wife calls it his me room. So we all need a me room, don't we?
We all need a me. Well, most of us who have offices in our home, that ends up where you can see all the stuff that's behind. This is my me room. My me room. So
that's right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna somehow convince you to do a podcast with us someday. So I'll be chasing you down, Mr. Barnhart, and you're the best.
Brenden, how's your dad?
He's doing great. He's always working too hard. So he's doing good though.
As a matter of fact, I believe I'm on with him tonight. So.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, there you go.
I will be watching, man.
We will talk to you soon, Mr. Barnhart. Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Thanks so much. Guys, let's bring in what I love Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football. And
come on, the podcast is called Mr. College Football. I'm done. Yeah. Come on. Who's not gonna I'm done. I'm gonna hit him up somehow. Come on.
We got to put him on this channel. Dudley Dawson, Inside Arkansas. Vince Ferrara, the sports animal. Vince, how you doing? You've been in my daily prayers for healing and recovery. I know you had the hip surgery. How you doing?
Good. There's always little annoyances along the way, and the rehab is part of the deal. But hey, I'm past the toughest parts of the surgeries, and 5.5 weeks out from the second one. So hopefully, just keep doing the right thing and get to the finish line. But walking pretty good, and just got to get some of the swelling down, and we'll be good to go.
You look good. And the Bear's strong today. Your Bear game is super strong today. So lots
He
of
is.
spirits.
Hey, Dudley Dawson, Inside Arkansas. Ryan Silverfield was on our show October 3rd, the new coach at Arkansas, but he was at Memphis. And I mean, there are like 185,000 people watched on one of our channels alone. That's the largest audience we've ever had for anybody. And you've had a chance to talk to him, hopefully sit down, hopefully a one-on-one at the graduate in the lobby, but just Dudley and him. But talk about your takeaways from your time around him so far and what you see his plan is for Arkansas.
Well, he's done all the right things and said all the right things so far, as the Frenchie goes behind me.
I see him.
It makes me think of my dogs. Like, where are my dogs?
Yeah, but he's done all the right things, said all the right things so far. You know, he won't actually play a game until September 5th. You know, so he'll have another recruiting class probably, you know, taken care of or close to by that time. But you know, his big thing, I think that's cemented his popularity with some folks, and even some who weren't happy about the hire, was coming in and flipping the four guys. 4 out of the top 6 players in Arkansas. You know, I bemoaned the lack of recruiting of Arkansas athletes, or the lack of attention and all that. That's one thing he's made clear he's going to do. And in fact, I had Buck James, the legendary Arkansas high school coach, who has 7 championship rings. And he talked about, he said, Ryan Silverfield has recruited the state of Arkansas better than any coach, any college coach, and that included the ones at Arkansas the last few years. So, you know, that's what he was just in the wrong spot, I guess.
Well, just in staying in contact with him, I can tell you he's like a 9-year-old kid on Christmas Eve who's getting 210 speeds. He loves being at Arkansas. And Tim Horton always says, if you got 40% of your roster, something like that, in-state kids, Hogs do really well. You know,
yeah,
so
and he's a little hyperbolic, as is every coach that comes into a new job, and when you've lost at the clip that Arkansas has, some of that stuff doesn't, you know, hammer down left lane, drink a good old cold beer. Some of that stuff doesn't work when you're losing. Yeah. But like I said, the recruiting has done him well so far, and you know, he's not going to lose a game till September 5th for sure.
Yeah, well, nobody's going to.
In fact, they go to Utah the second week of the season. He goes to Utah, and their $500 million NIL thing, I guess.
Yeah, private equity scary. And what, as Tony Barnhart said, what could possibly go wrong? And the cool thing is, Ryan Silverfield started coaching when he was 18 years old. He's been doing it 26 years, 8 years in the NFL. It's wild. All right, Vince, I saw and heard, we all did the news yesterday, Tim Banks out as defensive coordinator, like less than a year after he signed his contract extension. Is that the first coach Josh Heupel has fired? People keep saying that. I mean, I don't know what you read from that. Maybe people just love being on his staff.
Well, yeah, part of the turnaround from the mess that he took over was the stability largely in the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And yeah, he has not at either of his 2 head coaching stops, UCF or Tennessee, from what we've been able to find, he has not fired a coach. You've had guys leave for other opportunities, whether it's the NFL or, greater opportunities in moving up the ladder, but not on, not being fired. So you wondered whether Josh Heupel would make that move, but the urgency of what happened this year and the intense drop off of what they did, they weren't very good on defense in 2022, despite the fact that their statistics improved from the year before, his first year, and the first year under Heupel. Got better, but man, in some of those big games, I mean, 63 points and just, against South Carolina and Alabama, I mean, tons of yards given up. So 2022, they were not very good. A lot of room to improve. They were much better in 2023 and one of the best in the league in the country in 2024. Yeah. But the drop-off this year was so definitive.
Precipitous.
It was. And not having their 2 starting corners, having other guys injured throughout the year, including on their D-line. But for them to tackle as bad as they did and to be out of position, and yes, they were young. This is a young Tennessee team in some of the players that they had to play. It's true freshman starting corner is never a good thing, but it shouldn't have been this bad. And so we knew that moves were going to come. And then you lose the Vanderbilt the way you did.
Yeah.
And then the pressure's on to make some changes. And coordinators go before coaches. You guys, head coaches, you guys know that. And I'm not saying Josh Heupel's on the hot seat, but I think it's a different level of urgency that, hey, we need to take this program to another level, and they'll spend the money to do it. And it's a big hire. And then the question is do you bring someone in and let them control all of the staff on defense, or do they need to agree with your philosophy and you like them, but they need to kind of blend in with what you want to do? That's an interesting part of who they might be able to try to bring in here to run this defense.
Vince, I'm going to ask this question first to you and then to Dudley. Are we shifting toward team owners like Jerry Jones? The Haslam family owns Tennessee football. Whoever owns Arkansas, because this private equity deal at Utah, $500 million. If you know anything about private equity, they're not purely altruistic in their motives. They will sink their teeth into you and eventually buy you for pennies on the dollar. My knowledge of state and federal governments is they spend everything they get, because if they don't, they won't get more money the next year in their budget. How do they expect to make a profit with that $500 million investment? I mean, and not that you don't want the money, but if you take too much money from one person, they become the de facto owner of your team.
It's a dangerous, slippery slope to go that route. And I know they're always looking for new revenue to be able to pay for everything that universities, especially the big-time Power 4 programs, have to pay for. But it's about profit margins, right? It's not about survival. Yeah. Not for the big boys, for the group of fives. For some, it's about survival with all the extra strain financially they have on them. But for the others, they've got the money. They've also got the people with the money to help them when they need it. Hence all of these ridiculous coaching buyouts that Jimmy Sexton and the other power agents are able to work. So I think it's just a matter of how much more money can we create, and we are powerful enough to keep them from trying to take over. But good luck with that, because they've been fighting that battle with high power and high dollar boosters in the past that feel like they should have a bigger say, and sometimes do, in what their universities do. And now you pipe in that kind of money, it's not good, and it's dangerous for them to go down that route.
Yeah. Same question for you, Mr. Inside Arkansas, Dudley Dawson. By the way, Dudley, in perusing through this book here, it's a ginormous book, the Encyclopedia of Southern Culture. There's a section in there about Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. He opened his first store, and you've referenced this before, in Newport, Arkansas, a 5 and 10 store, a dime store, and put another store on the town square. So it all started in Newport, not Bentonville, did it?
No, it's a source of angst with people who grew up in Newport, especially at that time, because we're sitting down there. Newport could have been Bentonville. I probably wouldn't have left if it had been turned into Bentonville. But there would have been less farmland all over the place, because he would have been putting those Walmarts, as we used to call them. I used to add an S on there, but one of the town businessmen, his brother came home from war, and he gave him that store, that lease on that building, and the rest is history. Mr. Walton moved up here to Bentonville, and he did pretty good with his ideas.
He's done rather well. So
now on your question, obviously we know that Johnny Tyson, is a big thing with basketball here. So Tyson, meets and all that stuff, With football wise, I think it's kind of split around a little bit. I made a little stir here not too long ago when I said Walmart and the Walton people don't put much money in relation to football as they do to Missouri. A lot of them graduated from Missouri, but that's just the way it is. They certainly put money into the athletic program here. You can see
Yeah.
that with their logos and all that, but it's not the amount that you would think. Uh, and and then with baseball, it's there's the walkers. There are several people in the different sports that that they're going to go to when it's time to go for money or when it's time to go, find a head coach. Kevin Scanlon, the former quarterback here,
Yeah.
who works with Stevens Incorporated,
Yep.
was part of the part of the 3-man decision making process on getting a head coach here. So there's a lot of things that go around there. Uh, Coach Broyles used to be the best at it. He could walk into an office, be it a Walton, wherever else he needed to go walk into an office, ask for money. They'd give the money. It just doesn't work that way anymore. And part of that is because not everybody around here has Coach Broyles' charisma and clout, and because it's a different ball game now.
Yeah, great point. All right, Vince, looking back over at Tennessee, you talk about the new defensive coordinator that's going to be brought in. What does he need to be able to do? Because when you got a high-powered offense, it's impossible to have a shutdown manhole cover defense, but you got to be good enough.
Well, who it is the biggest
Exactly.
question, I think, right now. But yeah, you're right. The tempo is something that has changed under Josh Heupel at Tennessee, and honestly, it had changed at Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Tennessee, I've said this before on the show, Tennessee and Ole Miss have been pretty parallel in what they've done offensively and defensively, tempo-wise. When they led the nation in tempo, they were 1-2. When their defenses were really good, they were right up there together. When they've slowed down and mixed in the tempo as opposed to being down in, down out, they've been parallel in that. And I think that is what the evolved way of Tennessee's offense is that you can't sustain with the tempo in this league, with the defensive linemen that you have, with the schemes that you have, and the fact that if you aren't staying on the field, you're putting your defense back out on the field frequently. And when Tennessee would go through their lulls offensively, have their defense right back out there, and they paid the price at times. And that's not even doing it down in, down out.
Yeah.
So I think you're gonna see teams that run tempo like Tennessee and Ole Miss not do it at breakneck speeds every play to protect their defense and be able to be good on that side of the ball, and then obviously draw in elite level defense. Defensive coordinators aren't crazy about being right back on the field potentially that quickly, unless you're scoring 50 plus points against the best teams. So I think that the tempo is something that is not as big of a problem as it used to be at Tennessee. And I think they want someone that's already called plays defensively, not someone that is going to learn on the job, as Brent Hubbs phrased it when he joined us earlier this week. This isn't a job for someone that's been a co-DC that's never called defensive plays.
Yeah.
So I think they want that experience. And then, Ryan Walters at Washington is the name that's probably talked about the most. He commented saying that at this point it's a rumor. I understand the connections because he has connections to Heupel, worked with him in Missouri and Oklahoma. And then he's had really good defenses at Washington too. So that makes a lot of sense. It checks a lot of the boxes. Yeah. But there's other guys like Jim Knowles that are really accomplished. Tavares Robinson at Georgia is a guy with a ton of experience, but hasn't run his own defense. Yeah. Kirby Smart famously said after the SEC championship game, "That's Glenn Schumann's defense, not my defense." Yeah. So if it's not Kirby Smart's defense and it's Glenn Schumann's, it's not Tavares Robinson's defense. But he's still a guy that has a lot of SEC experience. So there's a lot more names that have been thrown out there, but Tennessee is going to pay. Chris Lowe said it. They're going to pay, and they're going to probably do something pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Let me piggyback on that a little bit. One of the things that you were just talking about money in the earlier question. One of the things that came out of the press conference with Hunter Yurchek when he was announcing Ryan Silverfield was that Arkansas boosters or the school had had talked about moving some money around, and the boosters were going to give some. They had made a commitment, but a lot of people thought, well, wait a minute now. And he said they would be in the upper half of the SEC in terms of money funding into the program. But everybody was listening real close. He didn't say it was there yet. He said they had committed it. Now, until they go and pick it up and put it in the bank, some of us here are wondering, is this really going to happen? But, that's what he put out there.
Yeah. Well, what about the staff at Arkansas? Ryan Silverfield. Ron Roberts coming up there as the DC.
Yeah, and he was a guy that almost was here under Coach Pittman. They continued for a while before T. Will came in here, and I thought did a really good job until this year when, as we've made clear, I think that they put all the money on offense and didn't go out and spend enough money for defense. But obviously he's bringing in his offensive coordinator. It looks to me like a very nice staff. It's one of those things that you really have to study. A lot of these guys have been at a lot of different places, and there are a lot of different schemes. One thing, and I'm all into coaching. You got to have the coaching, but you got to go out and get the players. So I'm interested to see how this staff is going to recruit the 2027 recruiting class. That you basically, once January comes around, as soon as you get done with the transfer portal, you got to get right on getting 2027 guys up here to see the campus, to visit, to get commitments. The process is so sped up these days. So that's what I'm probably interested more to see how these guys are going to recruit, because you can look in their background and see that they've had good defenses or they've had good players. Now we'll see how it goes up here. It's, they need some luck up here in turning things around, and they got it that first day he was on campus with those 4 guys that flipped.
Well, you go back. Remember media guides? We all are old enough to remember them. And Texas.
There's
exactly.
Then on that bottom row.
Texas had one about like your cell phone would fit in your back pocket. Now, Auburn and Alabama would have these books like the Encyclopedia of Southern Culture. Look at that thing. It's like the book of physics. But, looking at the 2016 media guide for the University of Memphis football team, head coach Mike Norvell, assistant coach, defensive coordinator Chris Ball, went on to be head coach at University of Northern Arizona. Another offensive coach, Kenny Dillingham, now at Arizona State. Another one, Ryan Silverfield, offensive line coach, coached Memphis, now at Arkansas. Outside linebacker coach, Dan Lanning, now at Oregon.
He's pretty good here.
Yeah, it's a pretty good coaching tree. Norvell should have never allowed 31 guys to quit on him because he lost his culture, he lost his locker room, and he lost the laundry. They're going to have to burn it to the ground and it's a tear down, and start over. Because
I thought about not showing up for the show this morning, but that's not how Bill Keaty taught me, And so
that's right.
I made sure
I'm glad you did.
Complete the season. And those.
Oh yeah.
You know how much I talk about the 43 to 86 or whatever it is.
45 to 86. Yeah.
Those guys want to play.
Yeah.
Even if the starters didn't, Love and all those guys, and they may have, some adults are making a decision there. But I decided to show up and keep my commitment because that's the way things are supposed to happen.
That's right. And Vince, what time did you get up this morning? Eastern time.
Eastern 5. I hit snooze a few extra times, but still got to work on time.
So 4 o'clock, Dudley and mine's time.
Yeah.
What we call DHT, duck hunting time. Okay. A lot of sausage biscuits eating that time of morning. I'm going to write a book on it. My famous heat lamp food during duck season.
What I'm curious about is what is different in those 2 mugs that you've been swigging out of. You have 2 different things you had going on.
I ran out of coffee. The other one is Bucky's ice cold water. No,
I want to know a little bit about this too, because I think you're full of years, my friend.
No, and
I don't think. First of all, you talk about the gummies a little bit too much. All right, let's just get there. We're going to have a little intervention.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm out of energy.
All of us are here to talk to you about something. Right?
Sorry,
We've
Rob.
watched your decline.
Yeah, we've noticed. We've
We've
noticed.
noted it. And
No,
Robert,
I'm just
I
so
just want you to
excited.
know something. I love you. Even though Auburn sucks, I love
Yes,
you.
it's been a
Okay?
rough 5 years.
And
Yeah.
I know you've been drinking with Hugh Freeze playing golf. I understand you developed a habit. It's okay.
It's just, hey, no, I tell you one thing. I get so excited doing this show because I got Brenden, best producer on the planet, and then the best guest, and blessed beyond belief the people that watch this show. I'm really excited though about what's happening in college football with these new coaches that have come into the league. We got some young, energetic, just 4 o'clockers, man. They're in the office at 4:15. Vince,
Nice
deflection when we were speaking about you.
I know, dude. Can we talk about is this your addiction talking?
Yeah, here we go.
Which mug is going? Because you never really told us what's in what.
This was coffee, but I ran out of it. Shadrack's coffee, I might add, out of Jonesboro, the hazelnut. They got one called Jamaican Me Crazy, another one's Southern Pecan. And then we made eggnog the other night. It was
He's
really
doing
good.
it again, guys.
They've got Screwball. It's a peanut butter flavored bourbon. It's 40 proof. But we made eggnog the other night, and I found, Audrey says, "Where's some bourbon?" I found it. It was called Ancient Ages Kentucky Whiskey. I'm like, it has to be a good brand, or someone wouldn't have left it here. You know, that's probably why they left it.
It's all deflecting, Rob.
Yeah, no, it is
Was
deflecting.
the answer? Was it
Right
bourbon? Is bourbon the answer he's giving us?
Yes, it is. Well, look, I got to ask both of y'all, and Brenden, everybody, how many people just realized that they're announcing all SEC teams and the All-American teams, and no one even like, who are these guys? There's like, as Jan Cowart, former Auburn player, said a few weeks ago on the show, the way we are with transfers, you're going to have team reunions in a few years with 300 or 400 guys showing up. I was there for a semester. I don't remember your name.
Yeah, you better bring back just one team, not a decade team, or it'll be, it'll fill up the gym.
Yeah, it'll fill up the football field. All right, so both of y'all, first off, I'll start with Vince. Can Diego Pavia win the Heisman Trophy with 6 different regions voting the way they do?
He can. I don't think he will, but I think that'll go to Fernando Mendoza. There's been some momentum, and it was kind of set up going into that high-profile 1 versus 2 Big Ten championship, where the winner of that game kind of almost was unofficially anointed the Heisman Trophy winner. So I think there's a lot of swaying in that. I'm glad he is there. He deserves to be there. Yeah. I think maybe the turnovers might be a little bit of a difference between Mendoza and Pavia. Otherwise, completion percentage similar. Pavia not as many TDs, but man, the rushing, the leadership, all those intangibles. But I think there's plenty of voters that aren't looking at that kind of stuff, that don't know what we know and how he is completely turned around Vanderbilt. They're just going to look at the stats and pick a guy. So I think it'll be Mendoza, but Pavia, it can win. It's not out of the question.
Dudley?
He certainly was on the ballot that I sent in Monday. I won't tell you what spot he's in because we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But what I would tell you is I do think, and this will sound conspiracy theorist, but why I do think Pavia had a tremendous season and is worthy of the honor, I believe that there's going to be some Southern bias that will keep him from winning it.
I remember, as I mentioned, as a kid, when Pat Sullivan went against Ed Marinero from Cornell, running back. 1985, Gordy Lockbaum, 2-way player from Holy Cross. Remember him? Pretty good player. Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Vince. People still matter than a bunch of wet hens. I don't blame them.
Yeah, Tennessee fans do not want a Vanderbilt player to get a Heisman Trophy before a Tennessee player.
Woo!
I really don't either. I got to be honest.
Darren McFadden should have. I'll just say it for the state of Arkansas. Darren McFadden should have had one, and the dude he lost to was really good.
Yeah,
he's a great guy and all that. But D-Mac should have had his.
Well, in 06, it was Troy Smith from Ohio State. In 07, it was Tim Tebow. I mean, come on. But both of those guys are they're
hey, Timmy. I keep him close because when I need it, I'm like, oh, Timmy.
There you go. Well,
buddy.
But
you're right, bud? You're good.
Now he's getting into the bourbon.
Why?
That's right.
Right, Timmy? You're a champion. Why, Timmy?
How about that SEC logo that my friend Barnwood Brenda in Batesville?
How
That's a
about that?
tough
I
place.
have the actual front page newspaper of a lot of things.
Yeah. You know, the old newspaper clippings. We got to love those. Guys, we're about out of time, but I want you to say, Vince, what are you talking about up there on your show? And Dudley, do the same thing that people aren't talking about, that you're talking about, that they are going to be hearing a lot about soon.
That everyone's talking about.
Well,
who's on first?
Yeah, just real quick, there's still reaction to the Vanderbilt game. And because of the way the Vanderbilt game and the season ended, their fans were not thrilled and with the Music City Bowl playing Illinois in Nashville, where Vanderbilt plays, and Vanderbilt's playing in a bowl in Florida, and Tennessee is playing in Nashville, where they just lost to Illinois in hoops. And so, yeah, fans not happy about it, the initial reaction. It'll ramp up when we get closer, and there's fans in the mid-state and the western part of the state that will go and support them. They'll have a good crowd there. But the fans overall have been very outspoken that, yeah, we're not crazy about that. And then the Tennessee basketball team on a 3-game losing streak out of nowhere. They had an incredible win over Houston, and they've lost 3 straight since then. One of their starting forwards, Cade Phillips, is out for the year with a shoulder surgery. So those are the 2 biggest things. And then, obviously signing day, early signing period just wrapped up as well.
Yeah.
Here's one of the interesting things that not a lot of people know. At 2-10, Arkansas turned down a bowl bid. There were enough teams that
I love that.
Yeah, so at 2-10, they turned it down. They wanted to move on. But I think the biggest thing around here is Coach Silverfield has gotten his staff, pretty much intact. And now, just as I was saying a minute ago, they're promising that they're going to spend money to get players. Let's see.
Yeah.
That's speaking the biggest thing around here.
Yeah. And speaking of teams with bad records and bowls, I will never forget in 1982, Memphis beat Arkansas State. A friend of mine said, Brown, there weren't enough people there to take down the goalpost. It was a bad season. And the sports director at Channel 5, Bob Burks, by the way, it was his last broadcast, came on TV and said, this just in, officials at Memphis State University have accepted a bid to the Toilet Bowl in Flushing Meadow,
the
New
Weed
York.
Whacker Bowl. And
I'm not kidding you. As soon as the show ended, a friend of mine said they fired him before he was off the set. It was like, holy cow. But now teams are getting asked to come to bowls. You know what? The way things are going, if teams opt out the way they're doing, quit, don't play, say, we don't want to play the bowl game, that's going to happen. Guys, awesome.
First it was players, then it was teams, then it's going to be bowls. We're just going to opt out.
Yeah, they're going to have I want to go the Smoke the Bowl.
Yeah. I love the bowls. Guys, thank y'all so much. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week. We will start talking about basketball because it's a big deal bouncing around right now. But thank y'all so much for joining us, okay?
Appreciate it, guys.
You bet. Landers Ford, folks, they're open every day of the week except Sunday. As they said it, Sag's Big and Tall shop in West Memphis for 100 years today means more than $1. They're open. Service department will pick you up at home, round trip transportation. And they ask for Brad Bellamy, the general manager, walk you through the process. It can be complicated, but they can make it simple. And they've got all the vehicles out there.
Wait, I agree, Rob. I just we're going to run a little bit longer today, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit more in depth about LSU. What's happening with Ole Miss? Some of the conversations that seem to be going around that's not going around. Guys now, assistant coaches jumping back. I know from Kiffin's staff now going back to coach for the game. To me, it's sort of fascinating, and I was wondering if you could just kind of frame that up for us really quick before we end the show today.
Well, what you got going on is the offensive coaches were all told, if you're not on the plane tomorrow morning, November 30th, then you may not have a job at LSU. So you got Joe Judge, the quarterback coach, who was at one time coach of the New York Giants there, Charlie Weiss Jr., all these guys that are wanting to take Ole Miss. Pete Golding, the defensive coordinator, is like the second highest paid DC in the country behind the guy at Ohio State. But they're trying to piece it together. And Lane Kiffin is now we're going to find out in the next day or two. I think Yancey mentioned it yesterday about Trinidad Chambliss. Is he going to stick around? Is he going to go to LSU? Lane Kiffin needs to stop this stuff. It's not good. And what's happening at Ole Miss is you're going to have enough of the coaches come back, because Kiffin gets a $1 million bonus from LSU if Ole Miss wins the national championship, and it's still $1 million. But I think
how does that look though? They go. What if they go off and they run the table with Lane not there? How good does Lane feel? For LSU
fans are going to start to realize that what he did to Ole Miss, he'll do to them eventually. And I think that the other day, one of our guests mentioned that Ryan McGee was really, kind of, used by Kiffin in that Netflix thing. Oh, look at me. What a great, hey, when someone starts telling me what a great person they are, man, my back's up against the wall. Cause I'm kind of like, what are you trying to blank me out of? I'm sorry. I'm going to,
and I've done it. I used to own a production company and worked in sports TV for a long time, making a lot of 30 for 30 style stuff.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when I watched that, I was like, oh man, they are laying it on thick.
Yeah.
And the producer was like, well, we're gonna pull at some heartstrings, and that's unfortunately what you get sometimes.
Correct. You just nailed it. We're gonna try to pull some heartstrings. Hey, tell the truth. Yeah. And show people for what they are. But as far as Ole Miss goes,
because you have a responsibility to frame that, in a way that people can understand. Yeah, he's a comeback story, but they didn't really come back, and you know what I mean? Like it was sort of empty.
Yeah. Well, I had some friends.
Our story and arcing and all that stuff. It was an empty storyline to me, watching go, oh, okay. So like all of a sudden you're like not Lane Kiffin anymore. Okay.
His ex-wife came back to be with their children, not to be with him. And that I had some friends that, trust me, I'm not even going to go there. They know the truth on that. And I sat there in their house. They you know what? LSU, good luck. I mean, hey man, they got him a hell of a coach, but leave it at that. That's why Kiffin doesn't have a lot, as Yancey said, a lot of friends and relationships in Oxford. He had really nothing to do with it. He was just there, call him a mercenary or whatever. He's a great football coach. And with LSU's resources, he should win big there for 3 or 4 years. But if he doesn't, those LSU people will eat him alive. That's the SEC in the Big Six. They don't give you 2 or 3 years. But I think Ole Miss. I just think that the shock of losing, there's some disruption, serious disruption. But Joe Judge, Charlie Weiss Jr., they're trying to work something out where they can coach because Ole Miss, they're the orphan brigade now. They're going to be loved by people around America. They should beat Tulane in the first game, and I'm going to go down to Oxford. I got to go to that game, and that's going to be such a monster event just to be there in Oxford, Mississippi. But the Ole Miss people do not deserve. They have backed this team. I've been going to Ole Miss games for a long time. They have backed them and given them everything they want. And what's happening is there's so much money coming in right now to NIL. If you think Ole Miss is going away and going to go over on the side and feel sorry for themselves, you are sadly mistaken. All they're doing is double dog and tripling down on being great. They have tasted this, and they ain't ever going to go back to where they were. I promise you. That's just not how it happens. And then looking at it, but that's my take on it.
Well, thank you, because I think a lot of it's sort of an ongoing side piece story because as the sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Yes, like sands through the hourglass, so too are the days of our lives. And that's Oxford. And I'm telling you, folks, I look at these 3 American Conference coaches: Silverfield, Golish, Sumrall. They all are what the future of college football is. They're these workers, and all 3 of them could go into fields other than college football coaching and make a lot of money. And when you're in the presence of Silverfield, man, that guy, the positive karma, God almighty, and he knows how to talk to money people, dude.
When are you going to get him back on the show?
I got to get him on here soon, and I'm also working on Sumrall
right away.
I'm working on Sumrall.
I know we're working on Sumrall. We got.
Look, here's
we got ins with those guys, but we might have to call.
We are. And look, the greatest thing we can all see is John Sumrall sitting down with your dad, because again, it's so special having Tony Barnhart on here, Vince and Dudley, these writers, man, these media people. They'll tell the stories, but I think, and Auburn people, Golish, man, and talking to people that know him that are football coaches, they're going, guys, this guy doesn't sleep. He eats, drinks, sleeps. Think about where he came from in Russia behind the Iron Curtain. This dude is grateful for freedom. He loves this. Oh my God, Auburn people.
It's all a good story in the beginning, and then after a while, it's like, well, he's just from the corrupt, place in Russia.
I think it's going to be fun to watch all these coaches because they're new breath of energy.
Yeah, we got a new regime.
They understand college football for what it is right now. And if you don't understand, if you don't adapt to what's happening, you're going to go the way of the kiwi bird, the dodo bird, the passenger pigeon, the ivory-billed woodpecker, the Bachman's warbler, and soon to be the Florida Black Panther.
Soon to be, unfortunately, but
sadly.
I wanted to touch briefly as we kind of wrap up the show today, Rob, about the numbers. I'm trying to police us because we say we're going to talk about things and sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that we talk about the ratings, which we talked about the hard numbers of what happened with the Big Ten, SEC.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. The SEC.
I'm sorry. I'm multitasking at the same time.
No. The SEC and the Big Ten, the TV numbers are off the charts in favor of the SEC. And it's because, quite simply, the contiguous rivalry, the states, they're all contiguous. They're connected. You brought in Texas and OU. Texas already had a built-in rivalry with OU. Texas A&M, Arkansas. That's one of the great rivalries. That's a great one. Oklahoma with Missouri, and already with Texas. And they used to play A&M in the Big 12. These rivalries like Oregon and Penn State, Ole Miss, Georgia outdrew that. And you've got big media markets. 75% of the TV sets in America reside in the footprint that is the Pac-12, the Big Ten.
But we do get new matchups, which I think get people excited because we haven't seen them. When Florida played Texas for the first time, right? You got to see that stuff. I think that the opportunity to do that for the first time is cool, right? As a fan.
Yeah.
I was there for the first Florida, whatever. I think as Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, said, there's nothing wrong with college football. No. It's going to get better and better and better. But we are just in a major change right now, and that calms me down because I get a little when somebody who's seen, like when Buddy or Tony says calm down, like it's going to be okay, like that. I think that gets me off my ledge a little bit about look, I literally at one point was a little tired, and I was like, last night I was like, are we losing college football?
No, you know what?
It's like alligator tears. I'm like, what's happening to my sport?
Being a financial advisor in the stock and bond market since 1991, I can tell you how many times. Go back and look in 73 and 74, stock market declined 47% in a 2-year period during the Arab oil embargo. And there were articles in Newsweek, Fortune, Business Week, Time Magazine, the death of equities. The American dream is dead. 1982, the death of equities. From 82 to 87, the market increased 250% over that 5-year period. Then October 19th of 1987, the market fell 22% in one day. Hey, give me 250 over 5 years and a 22% pullback. On average, remember this, as bad as you think things are, any serious correction, 20 or 25% or more in the stock market, is always followed historically over the next 18 months by a 33% increase in the market. We're going through some crazy times right now. But if you think college football was better in the 70s than it is today, you're out of your mind, because the crowds, everything are better, the interest, and it's our job in the media to tell the stories, to get the people on here to tell the stories.
You got to keep them honest, dude.
Yeah, you got to keep them honest. Keep them accountable.
I want to say something, and I don't want to, me, Rob. I'm not one to brag about anything, but I'm pretty down to earth guy. I'm probably the nicest part of my day is on the show. I go from here. I'm pretty raw human. Brutally honest, man. But from what the whole Lane Kiffin thing, conversation that you and I had, talked to our source, and several other people broke the story that Florida had made an offer, which opened up the whole can of worms nationally for what happened. And then we close out that story when Kiffin finally ends up at LSU with Frank Duffy breaking the story, scooping everyone at least an hour before it even happened, maybe even before that. We put the story to bed. So kudos to you, Rob, your network, to the team of people at Sidelines, SEC Sidelines, this show, and then Sidelines.live as we expand our network. And one of our Facebook platforms, Rob, did about 1.2 million views in the last 28 days. And several of them did over 1 million in some of our reels and stuff like that. Awesome. Frank had one of our reels that did 500,000 close to views on it. So we just want to say thank you to the audience, the people. If you're new here, we got a lot of new people, a lot of new faces. Welcome. This is a network of podcasts all dedicated to talking about college football and college athletics. And we will be on 5 days a week live, but you can always catch us on YouTube, Facebook, and anywhere else. You just search SEC Sidelines. We're everywhere. But good job by you, Rob. Good job by our team. Everyone else, we don't often take a bow, but, as the executive producer, and I also am the president of GatorbaitMedia.com and Gatorbait Magazine, I get to come out and be daddy and say, good job, everybody, and great job by you. And I wanted to say thanks to the audience, and make sure you like and subscribe. And if you are interested in advertising with us, we'll have opportunities for that in the future and share some ways where you can get in touch with us. And we make that how you can be a part of what we're doing and join our team so we can continue to bring this content for you for free.
Yeah. And to echo, to dovetail off of that, we're based in Memphis and Ocala, but we are regional all over the South, all over the country. And we got a lot of expats, military people. Man, it's really cool. And those of you know what I'm talking about. They're watching this right now. People deployed all over the world. I get it's messages, and Nigel finds them too. That's powerful stuff. Gives you chills thinking about it. And I'm telling you, Frank Duffy, several weeks ahead on that one. We also protect your sources, keep them anonymous, but we work. As soon as the show's over, it's the phone calls, it's the texts, it's the constant mining and digging for information.
Well, you do a good job with that, Rob. And I just wanted to take as a point to say, good job. We don't want to go on about who we are, what we do, but we try to be truth sayers and all that good stuff. We don't want to bore everyone with all that, but we just I just wanted to say good job and take the moment for you and everyone else, and excited about where we're going down the road. So and it's the audience because you really make the show. So
it's not, as Pat Sullivan said when he won the Heisman, it's not about one individual, it's about the entire group. So we have a great team.
So make sure you hit that pound the subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, you look, these QR codes show up in the chat too. So just go on and we sound like probably NPR right now.
An infomercial. No, we're in a fundraiser. Call 1-800-735-4000.
It matters. We don't want your money. We just want your attention.
Yeah. And look, let me say this as we always close every show, because we mean it. Most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. Find ways to go out and help and bless other people, because we are blessed beyond belief to have this. And our great sponsors, Hewlett & Dunn, Rumblebox, HempRose.com, Landers Ford, and soon to be you, if you want to reach a ton of people. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Good night, John Boy. See you tonight. Buddy Martin Show on later this evening, Wednesday night. Buddy will be on 9 p.m. Eastern. Check it out live or check it out later.
Thank you. Peace.